Exit polls suggest the three biggest parties have won equal shares of the vote and Ireland is headed for another coalition government. Thousands of people protest for a second night against the Georgian government's decision to suspend EU accession talks.
The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights calls for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza as humanitarian conditions continue to deteriorate.
The official exit poll in Ireland's parliamentary elections suggests the three biggest parties have won roughly equal shares of the vote, and the country is headed for another coalition government. The Ipsos poll released as voting ended showed the centre-right party Fine Gael was leading with 21% of the vote. Its centre-right coalition partner in the outgoing government, Fianna Fáil, was polling at 19.5%. Coming in third is the left-of-centre Sinn Féin at 21.1%. Though Sinn Féin could become the largest party in the 174-seat lower house of Parliament, it may struggle to find coalition partners to form a government. Both Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil have refused to form alliances with it because of its historic ties to the IRA. Ballot counting starts on Saturday morning. But because of Ireland's complex electoral system, it could take several weeks for full results to be known. Thousands of people have protested for a second night against the Georgian government's decision to suspend European Union accession negotiations. Protesters swarmed the parliament in the capital Tbilisi, with some trying to break the metal gates to the building. Riot police used tear gas and pepper spray to push protesters back. That elicited an angry response from the country's pro-EU president Salome Zurabishvili, who called it Russian-style repression in a post on X. The ruling Georgian Dream's victory in October's elections sparked massive demonstrations, with the opposition claiming the vote was rigged. That led EU lawmakers to press for a rerun under international supervision. But Georgia's Prime Minister Irakli Kobakidze hit back, accusing the EU of blackmail and suspended accession talks until 2028. The EU granted Georgia candidate country status in December 2023.
The UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has called for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. In a press release, his office detailed the grim realities on the ground following a recent visit to the Strip. Starvation was outlined as the most immediate threat facing Gazans, as Israel continues to restrict the flow of humanitarian aid. Media reports say a Hamas delegation is set to arrive in Cairo on Saturday for talks with Egyptian officials. It comes just days after U.S. President Joe Biden expressed desire to reopen dialogue with Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey to bring an end to the violence in Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he's open for a pause in fighting in exchange for the release of hostages. The implementation of a U.S.-brokered ceasefire deal in Lebanon between Hezbollah and Israel is raising hopes for a similar path for Gaza.
The European Commission has approved a package proposed for the German flag carrier Lufthansa to acquire a minority stake in Italy's ITA Airways. Lufthansa won EU antitrust approval in July to buy 41% of state-owned ITA. The deal is worth €325 million and is aimed at boosting the Italian airline's presence in the lucrative southern European market. The Italian Economy Ministry had to commit to allow competitors such as EasyJet to operate more routes from Italy.
The Polish border guard says it detained nearly 40 people who attempted to illegally cross the border with Belarus in the past 24 hours. Authorities say there have been over 29,000 attempts at illegal crossings through the Belarusian border this year alone. The crisis began back in 2021 when Belarus said it would no longer help prevent illegal migration into the EU after their bilateral relations deteriorated. Brussels has routinely accused Minsk of engineering a crisis by encouraging asylum seekers to illegally migrate into the bloc.